Welcome back to Pop Culture Explosion. I'm Mike, and I'm here with Paul.
Here at Pop Culture Explosion, we read the books from 1986. We watch the miniseries in 1991. We wait all these years, and we get the movie today. Mike, what are we talking about?
Today, we are talking about Stephen King's It.
Wow. Now, just for the record, this will be a spoiler-free review. So if you have not watched this movie yet, you are safe. And we'll make sure that you stay that way through the course of this episode.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's just get to it.
Agreed. Now, Mike, you did not see this movie, have you?
No, I didn't see this movie. I don't have any plans to see this movie. I think I'm too afraid to see this movie.
Well, we're talking about killer clowns here, so
Yeah.
I can totally get that. But you know what? Luckily for our audience and fans, I did see the movie today.
You took one for the team.
I took one for the team.
All right. Well, Paul, let's get some overall thoughts on this movie.
You know, this was the same story from the 1986 book, and it had a very similar feel to the 1991 miniseries. I mean, you have a group of these kids that call themselves the Losers. On a side note, though, this is not the 1991 miniseries. I mean, this is a hard R movie. There were some jaw-dropping moments. There were some moments that I literally, oh my God, they went there. And on the plus side, it had a very impressive $117 million opening. So, all in all, I enjoyed it.
Okay. All right. Well, from judging from some of the texts I got earlier from you, I wasn't sure. It sounded like you may have really not liked it. So, what was some of the similarities to the?
Well, immediately, I could call it the cast members. I mean, the moment I saw Bill, Richie, Beverly, Ben, Mike, Eddie, Stanley, and even Henry Bowers, I could see every character and spot them, and I know exactly who they were. It had a very similar, they all had the similar origin stories. You saw the relationships between the parents. So yeah, they're all basically the same. And the feeling of Derry was very similar. The fact that you had this creepy evilness, something was just a little bit off in this town, and the residents or the adults just kind of ignored it.
Okay, so what was the difference?
They kicked it up 2 or 3 notches. The miniseries was pretty much PG. It was television. This movie is a hard R. The violence, the blood, the gore basically it's like, okay, we're gonna convert the book to a level 7 in 1991. Well, in 2017, we're gonna take the book and kick it up to a 12, just for shock value, for violence. And by the way, violence doesn't bother me. Blood doesn't bother me. But I could definitely feel that there was an intensity level in this movie that we did not see in 1991.
So what was the difference?
Well, this was definitely a hard R, and they held nothing back. There were several shocking, jaw-dropping moments. They did do several similar scenes from the 1991 miniseries, but they just kicked it up several notches. Now going back, I think my biggest concern was Pennywise. Tim Curry's performance was amazing, and I'm thinking, how are they going to top that? So they had this kid, Bill Skarsgård. I have to give this dude huge props. He went a completely different route in his performance. He made several different choices. And he just had his own unique level of creepy and evil. I gotta tell you, this was my biggest concern for this movie, and he pulled it off very well.
Okay. So what was specifically, what did you like?
The feel. They captured the book so well. And you know what? The fact that this was in the movie setting, and they could give this a rated R, they did the violence and the horror justice that I think the book truly needed. The kids were completely overwhelmed during the entire movie, and as an audience member, I felt that.
Okay. So, what did you not like?
Jump scares. I hate jump scares. If you have to do a horror movie and you have to resort to jump scares, come on, guys, you're just being lazy because jump scares are getting boring. The other thing that really just annoyed me was they dropped the F-bomb so much, and it was just becoming distracting. The other thing is I noticed that the chemistry with the losers, it didn't happen till the end. And I was waiting for that. I mean, that was probably one of my favorite parts of this story. When I first read this, it had nothing to do with Pennywise or the horror aspect, but it had to do with these 7 kids and how they bonded through all this, and they just became the best of friends. And I didn't feel that until the very end of the movie. At the end of the day, I'm looking forward to seeing chapter 2. I'm looking forward to how they take this with the adults. I'm thinking that the writers and the directors, they're probably going to kick this up probably another notch or two. But I'm looking forward to it. Overall, I enjoyed the movie. I think they did a good service to the book, to the 1991 miniseries, and to the fans that really helped make this movie happen.
Right. All right. Well, sounds good. That kind of wraps up our Paul's thoughts on it, and you've almost sold me.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, Mike, I would give this a solid 8.
That's why I predicted you would say 8 after your review here.
So, if you enjoyed this review, please, hey, hit that like button. If you say, hey, this review kind of sucked, hit the dislike button. I get it. And for future content, please hit the subscribe button. If you do any of those things, you will have your very own red floating balloon delivered at your doorstep this time tomorrow. So, Mike, with that being said, peace out.